welcome to India.
Thank you.
And also thank you very much for giving us an opportunity for interview with the Meera. Should I start?
Yes, please. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. So my first question would be, what is the library marketing about which you are talking all about?
The library marketing is a key to inform our politicians and also the society around us, our family even, to explain the value and the possibilities library can give to the society.
So, how this idea of library advocacy came into your mind?
It was a longer process. It was a longer process because I was discussing it with my colleagues at the IFLA governing board, and I was always thinking that we don't have enough activity in advocacy, and also marketing was always something I really wanted to bring more to the grassroots of libraries. And when we discussed it, we saw all the elements. We feel that on one side it's so difficult sometimes to convince politicians. They still have a very old view on libraries, but in librarianship there is really a development since the last 10 years, and we see already changes, and we can show changes, and we wanted to take this up and bring it to the politicians and also to other libraries, and to explain what's going on. And in discussing this, we saw advocacy as a key. So there was no more question to take these libraries on the agenda, that everybody looked if libraries could be on their agenda, because libraries can help with a lot of activities, especially for societies in development.
But how your experience has been so far while you have been advocating, propagating this idea around the world?
Yes. How
has been your experience and what are your future plans?
My basic for this experience was my own activity at the Library Association in Germany, so that we were successful to convince politicians to do something, and that we tried out what would be the best activities to do. That was one thing. And based on this experience, I was looking around about on the experience of others, and I saw that especially in our International Federation of Library Association institutions, there are so many librarians with a lot and full pack of experience in advocacy, not only from America, but also from the Philippines or from Latin America, from South Africa. There's so many very rich experience and how libraries can successfully advocate, so I thought we should bring this together. So in supporting libraries on the agenda, one is that I want to open up how we go along with politicians. But the next is I want to collect all the good arguments for libraries from all over the world. One is with the success stories, which we have as a database on our IFLA website. So in the success stories you find a lot of arguments for what libraries are good and how you can use it for the society development of society. The other is that sometimes all over the world, you can take China or you can take Mexico. Politicians are coming up and say, oh, we don't need libraries anymore, we have the internet. And we have already a lot of arguments how we can tell them and show what is the value of libraries and why internet in library is the key of the solution for a knowledge society. And this, I think, is very important, that we collect all those wonderful ideas. One example why the members of IFLA and their creativity is so important. In Europe, we are talking about a change of generation, that older people will be more than half of the population in some years. And then people come up and say, so why do you need libraries anymore? Because they are older people and they know, and there will not be more young people, you have to educate. And then the librarians came up and say, but for older people, we have to have lower stacks, we have to more space to sit in a comfortable way, so we have to have more wheelchairs and other possibilities, so we have even more bigger tables and other possibilities. So if you have to look more for people who are visually impaired, they cannot hear anything, so you have to try to find more technology to compensate this. So there is a whole argument that it's not just shrinking down libraries, but the opposite in the moment. And I think this is excellent. The creativity of our IFLA membership is excellent for all to find the best arguments for your own library.
So, but how do you promote library advocacy in developing world?
There are two elements. One, wherever I go, I give talk on libraries on the agenda, but there I see already that the sections of library, they are also active. So some sections, like for some time, the section of the blind, they took up also this and said libraries for the blind on the agenda, and they talk about advocacy themselves and they collect this. The other thing is that I think that we support more workshops, hopefully through ALP, and I hope that we can support more workshops, especially on advocacy. A part of the workshops we put on the internet manifesto is also something what we can really use for advocacy. It has a lot to do with advocacy. So this is already happening. There are a lot of workshops happening and supported by ALP for development.
So what are the key areas of library advocacy in libraries?
The key, I think there is a process. The key areas are three. First of all, you have to know the way how to contact and keep contact best with your politicians and to outreach to the society, because a politician himself is nothing if you don't have convinced the society around you and partner with them and work with them. So the outreach is a very important step to make this for a longer run, not only for one contact, but make it longer. The next is that if you talk with a politician about what is the goal or what you want for your library, it means that you have to show something. So you have to be very confident that you are able to change your own library. At least you have to change a little bit to show something. And you have to try to partner with people and change something. So it will also, the second point is that we have to create new activity in our own libraries, in this process on libraries on the agenda. You cannot just talk and say it will be like that, you have to show a little bit. So we have to change ourselves, we have to be better in our professional activities themselves, and I think this is the second point. And the third point is, when in this process between advocacy and telling people what libraries will be and why you need more funding and why you need more for it, you show something. We also need to heighten up the capacity and the knowledge of our own library profession. Not only in how to work and do good library work, but in marketing, which is a very important way to know how to market your library products. I say products. It always, you see, I know that people are sensible, that they think it's all economy. It's not all economy. It's what people, if they have so much advertising around. Without advertising, the library is nothing. It's not that we can lean back and wait until people come. We have to advertise. And we have good things to advertise. We have good values. And this is better than in a lot of other professions.